All right. Let's get into this, shall we? Oh, what's up, people? How's it going? It's another day. It is episode 11. Episode 11. That's great. I'm glad I've been keeping up with this, man. Whew. I don't keep up with a lot of things, but I'm glad I'm keeping up with this shit. We're on episode 11. Today is going to be a fun day. I got some things that we're going to talk about. And pretty much we're just going to chill just like last time, just like every other time. I got my cup of joe. Today is a video not sponsored by anyone, but this is just, I think my sister gave me this cup. Pumpkin spice, everything nice. I hate pumpkin spice. I think she even gave me a cup of like a pumpkin spice coffee pack, which I just threw out. I kept the cup though, because I like cups. Comment if you like cups. I don't know, it's a weird thing. I feel like I always collect cups every time, and it's always coffee mugs because I drink a lot of coffee. But I switched out my coffee, so we got a nice cup of joe right here. I'm gonna put that right here. We got some fun things to talk about today, and let's get in. Ooh, let's get into it. What the heck is going on with my microphone today? Anyway, you know what to do. Let's get into it. Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time, so I might as well make a video or post something on YouTube. So it's my podcast. Cool. All right. So happy Monday. We're here. Another beautiful week. It's great. It's great. It's lovely. It's huge. Oh, I'm sick of that stuff. Anyway. I gotta light the incense. Do all that weird stuff. You know. I'm watching a lot of TV, man. I just recently watched Lampoon's Vacation. I've been watching a lot of that, and I don't know, it was on TV. Last night I watched The Vegas. I'm not gonna lie, I watched a little bit of the ending one, which are great movies. I haven't seen them in a long time. Do you ever watch those movies and like they were your favorite movies growing up, like when you were a kid, and then you rewatch them again, you're like, what the hell? What the heck is going on? Well, that was low key me when I was watching the Lampoon's series, and everything was fine. Like they were really good, but the European one, man. That European one, that's a weird movie. It just starts off weird. I think there's like two musical numbers in it, and right in the beginning, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? What is going on? Oh, and the first like 10 minutes, like the talk show host makes out with the daughter, which is just cringy. That just made me want to, die on the inside. Ugh. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the Lampoon's Vacation to Europe. I don't want you to think I'm like talking about like some talk show host nowadays. I will say, this coffee that I got is a lot better than the coffee I had last time. I tell you, it was pretty rough. Every time I made the cup of coffee, like Christina would think I burnt something. It just smelled really bad. Like it just, has that ever happened to you? You get a coffee and it just smells horrible. It smells like shit. And you're sitting there and you're trying to convince yourself like, oh, it smells like crap, must be good, you know? It was really bad, guys. It was really bad. So I ended up just getting a new brand. And yeah. So welcome. Thank you guys for joining in today. I hope you guys are having a good one. Staying safe, staying sane. This past weekend, since all the stores are starting to open up, my girlfriend thought it'd be a great idea to go to friggin' TJ Maxx. I can't tell you, like there was one point where I legitimately thought I was going to die. There was absolutely one point where I thought I was going to die, and here's that story. This legitimately happened. It's not really that. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't know if this happens to you nowadays, but it's weird. But like when someone coughs, everyone shits their pants. You know, when you're out and about, when someone coughs or anything, sneezes, man, you freak out. I don't know what it is. It's funny. And I've been seeing it happen when I go out to grocery shop, you know. I love seeing other people's faces. Cuz to me it doesn't bother me. It's more of like I get it cuz like I smoke cigarettes and I partake in the devil's lettuce, you know what I mean? So I understand what coughing's like, and I can't tell you when I go into a store I got to make sure I clear the pipes before I go in cuz I'm always freaking out. I'm like, what if someone judges me? What if someone, you know? But we go to TJ Maxx or we're shopping, we're in line, and this woman behind me, she's I thought she was gonna die. I'm not gonna lie, I really thought this old woman was just gonna keel over because like she was coughing, but it wasn't like the normal coughs. It sounded like she was going to die. And the worst part is she was sneezing and sniffling too. And I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, I have the cart. I'm just leaning on the cart, and we're in line, and she's behind me, and I'm just like, I'm looking at my girlfriend. I'm just like, I'm the human fucking body shield right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the woman's face in front of us, and she's legit like looking at me, and she has like the bug eyes, like, I'm like, chill out, man, chill out. You know, what can you do? What can you do? Live a little. So last week we did a kind of like a longer podcast, and I kind of like that because it was just, I don't know, I felt like I got a little bit more feedback and everything, and taking a break in between and just kind of like taking time to read your text and comments and stuff like that. So I appreciate for everyone for tuning in and everything like that. It really means a lot. So I'll probably do something like that similar today. I'll probably take a little break and read your comments if I missed any or something like that. I found this cool little website, it's random fact generator. So I thought I'd give you some weird facts, random facts to kind of stump you. I don't know if they're all true. Some of them I'm like, how do I know if these are true? We got 3 facts right here. Ready? Do you know that porcupines float in water? That's a weird one. Who figured that out? It's kind of weird. India used to be the richest country in the world until the British invasion in the earliest 17th century. That's interesting. Each nostril of the human being registers smell in a different way. Each nostril of a human being registers smell in a different way. There we go. Smells that are made from the right nostril are more pleasant than the left. Who would have thunk that? How the heck are you sitting there like, smells prettier in the right one? That's a weird thought, you ever hear this? Do you ever hear this? I think everyone's heard this, but like the first person that invented milk, imagine how weird that must have been. Imagine how weird that person must have looked, grabbing a teat of just a cow, just being like, and then just taking it and drinking that. I bet you some motherfucker's like, yeah, Ricky's a weird one. He'll do anything. Sick motherfucker even drank milk from a cow. And then next thing you know, everyone's drinking milk. That's like the main thing. You know what I've been watching a lot of? I really got hooked on this weekend. I don't know why. My YouTube's weird. It just shows me weird stuff. But it's cool because there's these commercials and stuff like that they're showing nowadays from like the early 1960s or something like that, or just it's really cool to see how times were back then. It is really, really insane. Like, what was one that I was watching a while ago? It was oh yeah, like the ABC early 1970s commercials. That's crazy. Our Daily Bread, 1962. This is the greatest stuff to watch, by the way, if you have nothing to do and you're just bored as shit, and it's probably like 2:00 in the morning. That's when I find these weird ass videos. Comment if that happens to you. Like you stumble upon the weirdest shit that you never thought you or the internet ever existed. Like for me right now, all I've been watching is like 1970s commercials. I don't know why, but it's really, really oddly fascinating when you're trying to go to bed. And they always have the same voice, and I love it. It's like, and here we have a family. We have a family of 4 going out for a picnic. And it's a splendid time here in the 1960s in this wonderful neighborhood. And here you can see the father preparing the meal. And the mother's there just sitting there just smiling politely. That's a very common thing that happened back then in the 1960s, where a woman was just sitting there smiling. And, it was just weird. They always have the same voice for every video they do. And here you can see the cars being put together. There's multiple parts, but luckily they have multiple people that can... Oh, I love it, man. I just love how they did. I don't know who made all these films, because they're clearly from like different parts. Like there's some from the Americas, there's some from England. But they use the same voice for every single time. What is with that? Have you ever noticed that? Like when you watch like an older film or something, like the commercials from like the 60s and the 50s, and it's only really in that kind of time period, they have the same voice. Are you tired of just sitting around your house? Are you tired of just, I love it. It's great. It's so funny. I don't know. I guess it was just that time. It was just very enthusiastic speaking. I wish people would kind of talk like that now. It would make things a little bit more exciting. Imagine if the news was like that, Tonight on ABC. You know what it's like? It's like those guys that weigh in at the UFC fights, you know? And in the left corner, you know? uh, I'll tell you something that's crazy. I'll tell you something that's really wild that happened to me this weekend. It's not really wild. It's just more like it was a realization. There's this place I go to that's nearby. It's this memorial, and it's legendary. It's legendary. It's cool. It's called the Hannah Duston Memorial, and it's really neat. It's about this woman, right? Who her let me I think her kids were taken away or something like that. This is way back in like way back when her kids were taken away from her or something like that from like the Native Americans or someone, and like her whole tribe got taken out by these Native Americans, and this one woman who was like all of her kids were like, I don't know if it was the Native Americans or someone else, but like she ends up going like, I swear they should make a movie out of this. It's so badass. This one woman with a tomahawk just took out this whole group of people, and she saved like so many people. And I love going to it because it's kind of badass when you think about it. Um, it's just like, damn, that's badass. Hannah Duston was a colonial Massachusetts Puritan mother of 9 who was taken captive by the Abenaki people from Quebec during King William's War, with her newborn daughter during the raid on Haverhill in 1697, in which 27 colonists were killed. So this woman, she went like on a killing spree, and she saved like all these people that were held captive from her town and everything. And there's a statue of it on this hike, and it's really cool because it's supposedly like on the path that she took or something. And and it's just super fascinating. And well, it's just sad because during this time with all the protests and riots like that, some group of kids vandalized the shit out of the statue. They just, and it's really weird because I was actually, my girlfriend, she was really upset about it, but I was just looking at it, and they used red paint, and they just splattered red paint everywhere, and I just sat there and I said, of all the colors to use, you use red. How iconic. You know what I mean? But it's sad. I was just like bummed out because I never really like thought a statue was cool, you know what I mean? Until I like found this one, and I actually did the research about it, and I was like, whoa, this is badass. This is badass. That happens with me when I go to Boston, because I'm kind of close to that area. So when I go to Boston, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of friggin' history. If you don't know that, search it up. I mean, some of the buildings are still there today. So I love when I go into there and I can see that history. I think that's really cool how we can still see that. I mean, America's hasn't been around that long if you think about like Europe and you think about other countries, and I can only imagine living in those countries. I was talking about that the other day, because I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I was just thinking, like, imagine living in Greece or Rome and these places where shit's been happening for centuries, for years. You have a lot of history there, and I think that's even cooler. That tops America hands down because you have history from BC. It's fucking nuts. I think and the fact that some of it's still there, that shit is crazy. I mean, if you look at Egypt and the pyramids, that shit's nuts, man. You got to think about the way that those things were built, how they were built. Were they really built by humans? That's still a debacle, man. I never understood why that's a debacle. You got to realize how powerful the kingdom of Egypt was back then, and the amount of people that they enslaved. It was insane. They had a lot of people enslaved, and I'm sure they could have done that. It questions me, it leaves me stumped sometimes, but I don't know. Did something absolutely, actually build those things, or who knows? But anyway, but that's not what I'm like trying to talk about. It's just really cool, It's sad that, and it's weird because what I thought too was like it's weird that they vandalized the statue because it's kind of like, it just makes you look stupid because she fought for a rebellion in a way, and the fact that you've vandalized hers, I don't know. It just kind of leaves me stumped. I mean, you could look at it because maybe it's because she took out. I don't know if it was a Native American tribe that she took out. I don't know what it was. Maybe that could be why. But I mean, that's still history right there. That's still fascinating. This blows my mind too. It always blows my mind when you find history in a place that you live or a place that you go to, and it's just fucking fascinating, dude. Wild times. Like there was this building I was driving by the other day, and on the front it said 1846. You got to realize 1846. It's 2020. We're 20 years away from 2040. So you got to think that's almost 200 years ago. That's nuts, man. Like when you think about that, when you actually think about like that building is still there. I know, I get it. It's only 200 years or something. They're not even like 170, 160. You know, there's buildings that have been around for, like I said, centuries. When you go to Europe, it's insane. It's insane. You know, like I forget when were the pyramids built? When were the pyramids of Giza built? I think it was like, yeah, 250, 2,550, and 2,490 BC. That was a long fucking time ago. If you actually think about that, that's fucking long. That's BC. Jesus Christ Almighty. That's like, I don't know. And it's that's one place I've always wanted to go to. I've always wanted to see that stuff. There's a guy I watch on YouTube, and his name's Simon Wilson. Okay, I'm gonna give him some cred. He's an amazing YouTuber. He is an amazing YouTuber vlogger. I watch his stuff. I have a bunch of YouTubers that I watch, like a lot. Like I follow. Let's see, Simon Wilson, Bald and Bankrupt, Harold Balder, Tim K, even his friend. You know, what else? Oh, Mark Wiens. You know, the best food show review and stuff like that with Sunny. There's a lot of good YouTube stuff that I watch, and it's very fascinating, especially during this time. You know, it's really nice to have, if you can't afford to go out to these places and to see this stuff, these guys really capture what it's like, you know, especially Bald and Bankrupt. You know, I've always wanted to go to India, you know, and stuff like that. Harold did stuff like that with him. Simon did stuff like that, you know. They all do, you know. I think Simon recently went to South Africa. And it's interesting just to see how people live and to see how different it is. I've said this in my earlier videos. Culture is cool. Where I live, all we have is McDonald's and Burger Kings, a couple Chinese restaurants. We have a Chinese buffet. And let me tell you this, there's a Chinese buffet, but they serve Italian food and pizza. That still doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, I get buffets are supposed to be everything. But if you're gonna make a buffet, don't theme it something and then just have everything. Like if you have a themed Chinese buffet, you should just be having a themed Chinese buffet. Why the frick are you throwing in Italian and pizza? That just doesn't make sense to me. That just does not. That comment if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense? I don't get it. You know, you're going down the line. You're like, what should I go for? You know, should I go for sushi rolls, or should I go for the pepperoni pizza? That doesn't sound like a good combination. No, sir, I don't like it. Comment if you know what that's from. No, sir, I don't like it. I will give you a big shout out if you know. I'll be very surprised because I love, I talked about this earlier in my last podcast, but, doing all that stuff and TV shows, they're great. They're great. They're great. They're lovely. Speaking of TV shows, that was something I wanted to talk about. Does anyone know what's going on with Dan Schneider right now? It's huge. It's blowing up out of everywhere. It's crazy. I don't know why. It's just out of nowhere. And you know what's funny is I always felt like there was something weird about him. And it's funny because another thing is I was trying to explain him to people, and a lot of people don't know who he is. For those of you that don't know who Dan Schneider is, he's a guy he's reappearing on the internet because he got fired from Nickelodeon years ago, and he had a lot to do with the TV shows. I mean, he had things to do with iCarly, Amanda Show. He even produced The Big Fat Liar, which is one of my favorite movies growing up. I love The Big Fat Liar. Comment if you ever seen that movie on Disney. That was like one of my fucking favorite movies. It was such a great plot, And it plays Hungry Like a Wolf from Duran Duran. And every time I hear that, I'll always picture that actor in that scene, when he's blue, he's all blue because a kid dyed him blue with his shampoo. There's something like that. Dude, that's a great song. That's a great song. Every time I hear it, I'm like, and I'm hungry like the wolf. It's a good song. Duran Duran. Who would have thunk? They have a lot of good songs though. Anyway, yeah, this I don't wanna bring it up or anything, but the Dan Schneider shit, I found that out too. And it's always been creepy. Cause I remember years ago, I remember seeing a commercial for Nickelodeon and it was from Dan Schneider. It was a tweet and it was like send pictures of your feet with like like your favorite show or something like that, or a line from it. And I just remember thinking that's weird. That's weird. I remember their logo being like Nickelodeon. It was a foot for one point, but like all these videos are appearing nowadays of this producer who is very friendly with his stars and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird. You know, you gotta be. You know, it's not. It's weird. That's all I'm gonna say. It's cringy. It was just like me yesterday when I was watching National Lampoon's Vacation to Europe or whatever. And I was just sitting there, and in the first 5 minutes of the movie, the TV show, the talk show host, like he's going around like greeting like the family, and he's like, "Hello, Clark," and he goes up to the wife, and he's like, "Hello," and he gives her a smooch, and then he goes up to the daughter, and then just like, ooh, I don't want to get into it. I just think this stuff is cringy and creepy, and it's just, ugh, ugh. Dude, I got these new pants the other day. These ones you're seeing. They're so fucking comfortable. They're so comfortable. You don't even understand, dude. You don't even understand. It's amazing how comfortable these are. I totally forgot to light incense. What am I doing? That's what I feel like is missing. Totally. You're right. Why wasn't I listening to you? You're totally right. Oh, those smell good. Island Rudy's. Again, we're using Island Rudy's. Is this what my podcast has come to? We just started talking and discussing about fucking coffee and incense sticks. Welcome to Lou, where I'm going to talk today about coffee and incense sticks. No, it's not going to become that. Got this going, little fire action. Those are good. These produce a lot of smoke. Holy schmoly. Smells like ash. Smells like some burning stuff. Always good. Always good. I had to take out yesterday's. I can't even fucking. There we go. There. My desk is getting a little messy from all these podcasts and lighting these incense sticks. I gotta clean it at some point. And everything. We've been cleaning so much. I'm getting past. I'm like, at first it was fun to just go around and clean stuff. And now not so much. I'm getting very bored of it. Getting very bored of cleaning. Not my fun thing right now. Got some more random facts right here for you guys. Contrary to popular belief, London broil is not a cut of beef, but rather than a method of cooking. It takes 6 months to build a Rolls Royce and 13 hours to build a Toyota. Interesting. The average city dog lives 3 years longer than the average country dog. It takes 6 months to build a Rolls Royce, but it takes 13 hours to build a Toyota? Really? I mean, that kind of makes sense. I could see that because Toyotas are usually more factory made. I mean, I'm not saying Rolls Royce aren't, but Rolls Royce is a very fancier car. You're spending a lot more money on it. Let's see. What's another random fact? I like these. Do you guys like these? Giving you some random facts for your Monday. Tablecloths were originally meant to serve as towels, which guests could wipe their hands and faces after dinner. That makes sense. Imagine, Man, when I was a kid, I used to try to do that stuff. My mom would backhand me. Holy shit. Imagine people doing that today, but that's what it was invented for. Who would have thunk? Blue eyes are the most sensitive to light. Dark brown are the least sensitive. That makes total sense because I have very blue eyes, and I can't tell you how many times I have to wear sunglasses outdoors. If I don't, I get a migraine, and I've always had that. The reason is I don't know, especially when it happens on the beach. Like I have to have, even when it's super snowy up here, when there's a lot of snow, I have to wear sunglasses outside because the snow is so white that you step outside and you're like, I can't see shit. Oh, it's bad. And there's nothing worse than getting a migraine on the beach. That happened to me so much growing up because the light would just be so bright that I didn't have sunglasses, that it would just aggravate my eyes and my head. And it's always this migraine right here. It's brutal, man. It is absolutely brutal. So all you brown-eyed people, my brown-eyed girl, you pretty awesome. That's pretty good. The average car produces a pound of pollution every 25 miles. That's a wild thought. That's a wild thought. The little bags of netting for gas lanterns called mantles are radioactive, so much so that they will set an alarm at a nuclear reactor. That's interesting. Who would have thunk? I've used those before for camping. A face-off in hockey was originally called a puck-off. How about a fuck-off? Nutmeg is extremely poisonous if injected That's a big word. 1 in 500 humans has one blue eye and one brown eye. So you got the best of both worlds. Since we're just talking about that last one. So would that mean your left head, like if your blue eye would hurt more? That's a thought. The average person can live for 11 days without water, assuming an average temperature of 60 degrees Fahrenheit. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson grew marijuana on their plantations. They knew what to do. They knew it. They thought that shit was lit. I bet you Obama read that and he was like, I like that. We should do that. That's a good rule. Yep. Donald Trump's like, oh, this is wonderful. Do we got cocaine plans? The most popular Campbell's soup in Hong Kong is watercress and duck gizzard. Interesting. Listen to this. The most popular Campbell's soup in Hong Kong is, I don't even know what that is, watercress and duck gizzard. I'm Googling something. What the hell is watercress? And what's duck gizzard? First of all, I'm more interested about the duck gizzard. What is that? Duck gizzard. The gizzard, also referred to the... Oh, it's like... Oh. Interesting. Now, what's watercress? It's a vegetable. Okay, it's like a little vegetable thing. That's cool. That's cool. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk that? Hey, you want to hear a fun fact? I don't know if you guys like this, like the movie scoops or behind the scenes stuff. For all my Harry Potter fans out there, Hagrid was in National Lampoon's Vacation in Europe. Do you hear that? Kids are screaming. I've talked about this earlier, but dude, kids in my neighborhood, they scream like a madman. Who's National Lampoon's Vacation to Europe? Yeah, so Hagrid is in this, believe it or not. So yeah, I realized it because it's the scene where for all my Harry Potter fans, if you want to know when Hagrid's in it, he's in the Europe movie when the mom and dad they first get their hotel, the first hotel in London. They check in, and the mom's she's taking a bath in the community bathroom, which is just a disgusting idea. And the dad leaves and he's trying to find his room, and he ends up going in the wrong room and everything. And meanwhile, this dude's in the bathroom with the wife as the wife's taking a bath. That dude that shows in that room, that's Hagrid. And it was crazy because I realized it right when he's looking over his shoulder and he has that same smile that he had in Harry Potter, All right, Harry. Hi, Harry. Oh man, comment who is your favorite. What's your favorite movie, and what is your favorite like character in that movie? Man, if I were to actually talk about like my favorite movie, that's a tough one, man. I have a lot of favorite movies. I have a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of movies. How can you not like them all? I will say this though, TV is weird nowadays. Now getting back into TV and everything, and having TV, and I said this before. I used to not have a TV, and especially with Wi-Fi and stuff like that when I was in college, because I was like pretty much just like living under a rock. That's what I liked. It was very nice. It was actually very nice. And TV, just watching TV now is really weird. I will say though, there's this one channel that just keeps playing Two and a Half Men, and I'm absolutely okay with that. Give me more Two and a Half Men. That show's friggin' hilarious, absolutely fun. New Hampshire just passed. That's where I'm from, by the way. New Hampshire just extended the stay-at-home order, but that's old news right now for everyone. June 15th. Hopefully, after June 15th, we see a little bit of a change and everything like that. If you're living somewhere different, I hope everything's going well and everything. It's crazy, insane. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys are doing well, doing peachy. And let's see, we're at 32 minutes. Wow. What was that? Just keep a check. What was that to keep a check? I don't know. I might have to make a new cup of coffee. I'm running out. It's only my second cup. Actually, I think this is my first. Yesterday I had a lot of cup of coffees. This past weekend I was bored. Man, I tell you, I've been doing everything. Something I've been procrastinating on is I need to make more CDs and do all that stuff for the music and the gigs, but I've just been procrastinating, and I've been cleaning, and I've been doing all this other stuff that I just completely forget about it. But this past weekend I was just bored as shit. I think Saturday I was on the couch literally just I think I said I'm bored like 20, 30 times. It was just one of the. If you ever have those weekends, I hate those weekends when you're just so friggin' bored. You just don't know what to do. That you're just sitting there and you're just like, I'm bored. You know, until your brain finally thinks of something to do. Something. For me, I just been cleaning so much. I've been cleaning and organizing. I've been drawing. I've been doodling. I've been playing music, playing video games. I've been going. I cleaned my car. I cleaned the toilet. I cleaned everything. Reorganized our apartment. There's not really so much you can do. And you run out of ideas and you're just like, God damn, dude. It's something I was thinking about this the other day. There's a story I want to talk to you guys about. Maybe I'll talk about this after. I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to come back and I'll tell you guys a story of the time I was heavily medicated for a plane flight back when I was a little kid. I had to go to Florida and my parents like really medicated me. It was really insane, and it was by accident. It was really bad. It's a funny story, man. I'll tell you. I don't know if I talked about it in my earlier podcast, but at least after I do this time, I will know, and I'll be like, all right, I definitely have talked about it, but for now, because it was a funny time, yeah. Has that ever happened to you? You get sick right before something great happens, you know? Like for me, it was like I got sick right before I had to go on vacation. And that happens to me. I don't know what it is. I think my body just gets so excited that it gets like sick. You know what I mean? I don't know why. But there was this one time when I was a kid that I was going on a Florida trip. And I had gotten really sick right before this. Like I'm talking like I probably shouldn't have even gone. And I remember I think when I went down to Florida, I was really only just sick for like a day or two, and then it kind of just kicked out of my system because it just did. And I remember there's this one time when I was on the beach and I was sick, and I was so cold, but it was like literally almost like 100 degrees out, but my body was just so cold that I had like a towel wrapped around me, and oh, it was just miserable. It was miserable. But anyway, this is a good time because this is probably going to be a long podcast. So I'm going to take a quick, short little intermission, and I'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned, and we're going to talk about the time that I got really sick before a plane, and a plane trip and a vacation and everything. And it's going to be fun, so stick around. And yeah, I'll be right back. Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time. So I might as well make a video or post something on YouTube. So it's my podcast. Cool. Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time. So I might as well make a video or post something on YouTube. So it's my podcast. Cool. Hi, we're back. Thank you guys very much for staying tuned and everything. I appreciate that. Man. Man, oh man. Story time. All right. This is, let's see, I think I was just starting high school. I think I was like a freshman, actually. Yeah, I was a freshman. I remember this, yeah. So I had gotten really sick right before a trip to Florida that my neighbor was going on. And the parents invited me to go on it. Why not? So my mom was like, "You're not messing this up. Like, you're not, because they already paid. They paid for everything. So you have to go on this trip." And there wasn't like a time where I was like, "I'm not going." I was like super excited. I got to miss like a whole week of school. I was fucking ready. You know what I mean? I every time I'd see my neighbor in school, I'd just be like, "Hey, couple days, Florida. Hey, it's gonna be great." So the day arrived. Well, the week right before it, I get super sick, man. Like I was actually out of school for a couple of days and everything, and my parents were just trying to kick it out of my system. Like I'm talking like they would, oh man, like this, give me all this type of kids medicine. And there was this one time, and so right before the flight, I didn't really kick the sickness out of my system, and this was years ago. Um, and so they just doused me up with medicine. My mom, and she's like, she just loads me up with this medicine, and sends me to school. And that was a day we were leaving. We had to go to school for a little bit, and we got dismissed and everything, which is like the best feeling in the world. That was like the best feeling when you got dismissed from class. You're like, yeah, motherfuckers, I get to leave. And like we had to show up with all of our stuff too, so it was really even cooler. Like we had a suitcase and everything, so we're like, yeah, motherfuckers, we're leaving this place. We're never coming back. No, we had to come back, after a week. But I remember it was like math class or something like that. That's when we got dismissed. And this is when all the medicine really started to kick into me, you know what I mean? I started to feel a little loopy. Little loopy. I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, but when you take too much medicine when you're a kid, you just feel off. You just feel like you're floating, you don't know what the fuck is going on. And I remember when we got to the airport, I was like mush. I was just like a potato. Like I was like drooling pretty much. I just gave them my bags and they pretty much did everything. And I remember the mom was just laughing, like, "Oh my God, you poor kid!" Like she felt so bad for me, and she's like, "Hopefully, a couple days on the beach, will kick it out of your system, you know." And I remember her calling my mom, like, maybe he shouldn't have come on this trip. Maybe he was about, I was pretty sick. I probably shouldn't have gone. And I remember like the plane ride, like I was just so out of it. I literally was tripping. Like I had taken so much medicine to kick this cold out of my system that I didn't even know what was going on anymore. And like I said, I was a kid, so I fucking had no idea what was going on. And then I remember when we finally get to Florida, like it's the next day, like I'm still sick. It's just sad. Like I couldn't even enjoy like the first 2 days I think of the trip because like I said, I remember going on the beach and it was like 90 degrees out or like 100, and I was so cold. I was just so cold that I had a towel wrapped around me, and I just remember like sleeping on the beach on the towel, like. And then it finally just kicked out of my system. It's like boom. One day I woke up and I'm like, I'm fucking ready. You know, we you know, and it was funny because it was a trip that we were told like we were going to Florida. We went to like the parents had like a little vacation plot or something like that, and they told us like, oh, we're gonna go to Disney or we're gonna go to Universal, one of the two. Dude, this entire trip, like me and this kid, we just stayed on this beach. That's all he did. The parents they just got hammered every night, and their favorite thing to do was to watch the sunset on the beach. So they get like 2 bottles of wine. They bring like a carton of like Marbs. I remember like a dude, like a carton, and they just get fucking plastered on this beach. Meanwhile, me and this kid were like, shit, 13, 14 at this time. So that's all we did was we just walked on the beach, It was like a really old person vacation plot. Like they had shuffleboard, like, like the shuffle game or like the shuffle. I forgot what is it called? Shuffleboard, one of those things. And it was just, oh man, so funny, dude. So funny. I remember we tried to pick it up and try to play it. And I just got a message. All right. Guys, I'll be right back. I just got a little message. Gig opportunity. So let's see what's going on. I'll be right back. Stay tuned for more. I have more stories. This is kind of like random, but I got to get to this call. So I'll be right back. We're not even going to end it. We're just going to go be right back, Be right back. What's up? Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate that. Unfortunately, I just got a last minute call. Shout out to David. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna go fill in for a gig right now at Chris's Barbecue. I think that's what it's called, Chris's Barbecue Pit. Let's check it out. I'm sorry, it's Shane's Texas Pit Bar and Grill over in Hampton. So if you're in the area, come check it out. 5 to 8, I'll be there. Looping like crazy. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's segment. Sorry it got a little interrupted. But I hope you guys have a great one. I hope to see you guys. I'm going to be doing this tomorrow. I have some stories lined up. I had some that I was going to talk about today, but it just kind of got interrupted. I wanted to talk about fishing and how I caught a huge fucking turtle, and that is like a hilarious story because it was unexpected, and there was a lot of moms and children around, and to see a grown man just kind of like pull out a huge turtle, almost butcher the thing because it swallowed the hook. Not a pretty sight, but I'll talk about that tomorrow. Kind of something to look forward to. If you guys want to hear something in particular or to chat, feel free to comment. Feel free to leave a message. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, just LUNH Music. Till next time, guys. Much love. Thank you guys so much. Peace. Well, I'm bored as shit, got nothing to do during this quarantine time. So I might as well make a video or post something on YouTube. So it's my podcast.